Let's make some amazing venison soup that's packed with protein and flavor. This recipe is from Meat Eater, and I wasn't sure what to expect. It seemed really simple, but it was so good. Sometimes the simple recipes are the best. I started off by roasting some red peppers. I didn't have any in a jar or can. I guess you can find those in the caper aisle, wherever you would find those. But I had lots of peppers on hand and I wanted to give it a shot since I'd never done this before. P.S. I don't know if you noticed, I crumpled up my parchment paper so it would lay on the pan a whole lot easier. I roasted them skin side up in a 425-degree oven for 30 minutes with no seasoning or oil. I still have a whole bunch of garlic kicking around my house. Normally I just used pre-chopped garlic from my jar, but I wanted to use it, and honestly, is there anything better than fresh garlic? I don't know, maybe the love of Jesus, but that's about it. So I chopped that up to oblivion. I used 4 heads of garlic. If you do want to add more because you just love it, go for it. Since my kiddos really don't like huge chunks of onion, I try and make it as small as possible, but you can do it how you like. Now here's where the twist comes to the recipe. I'm going to link it down below. It normally is made with ground venison, but we have so many shanks. So I made this recipe with shanks, and let me tell you, I was not disappointed at all. I chunked up about 1.5 pounds of shanks, but it would probably still be good if you just cooked them and shredded them after. I did try and remove some of that silver skin from the outside of the shank so then it would break down a little bit easier. And because of that, Ruby got a nice little treat for a couple days. This is what happens when you have plants in your kitchen. Collateral damage. Sorry, buddy. After a little bit of cleanup, I coated my shanks with some paprika, rosemary, and salt and pepper. Do you guys ever have plant debacles in your kitchen? Collateral damage? My little planties need to be really resilient to last in my house. I heated up my cast iron pan with some olive oil and popped those shanks in, kind of sauteed them a little bit so they got a little bit brown. You can use nonstick if that's your preference. I'm just trying to use cast iron a little bit more just to get a little bit more ease with it. Once those pieces had a little bit of color, I removed them, added more olive oil, and then tossed in my onions. You want to saute these till they're kind of translucent and then add your garlic. If you add your garlic too fast, then it's going to burn and that never tastes good. Cook everything for about another minute, and if you feel like it needs a little more oil, then add a bit more. Once the garlic is fragrant, then add in your chicken stock and deglaze the pan. This is the best part. I only added 1 cup of stock to my pan. I just didn't want it to overflow. And then I added that mixture with the onions and garlic to my crock pot, along with the remaining 5 cups of stock. Originally, this recipe was made for the stovetop, but I wanted to do it crock pot style just because that's a lot easier for me and my family. Those peppers smelt so good coming out of my oven. I just sliced them up lengthwise and popped them in. They were amazing. I chose to use chickpeas for this recipe, which was one of the options. You could also use orzo or rice, but doing it in the crock pot, I didn't want to have to fiddle with timings and stuff like that. And beans, that's easy. I ended up doing this on low for around 12 hours. I did it over a couple days because my kale was not okay. It was wilty and gross. So if you want to see my short on how I made it a whole lot better, please take a look. I thought I might need to thicken it up before I added the kale, but once I did not need to do anything. It was amazing. I ended up cutting up half a pepper and throwing that in just at the end. The roasted peppers I had added earlier were gone, and that was because I had just cooked it too long. Once this was cooled off, I wanted to freeze it for lunches because I knew that it wasn't going to get eaten if I left it in my fridge. I used my gigantor cup, but you can use a measuring cup or a juice jug, whatever works for you, along with a big freezer bag. I got about 4 scoops in each bag. Then I test my luck by trying to push all that air out, and today I was a winner. After I labeled everything, I folded them in half and hung them over the drawer of my freezer. I figured this would be an easier way to pull them out of the bag and put them in my crock pot. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and give it a try because, oh my word, it is so good.